Welcome to the Citizens channel. Welcome to Live with Chatufa. I want to welcome you, family. Thank you so much for joining us and supporting this platform, the platform of the gospel of the Zimbabwean people and their freedom. And we are here as intercessors, as those that are standing in the gap for the sake of the freedom of the Zimbabwean people. We are watching and looking at many things that are happening in our nation as they continue to signify to us the direction that God is taking our nation. God is in it and God is moving. I want to thank everyone, especially those that have subscribed to the channel. If not yet, please remember to also like, subscribe, and also ring that bell so you can continue to receive notifications each time that we are live. It's very, very important not for you to miss any other discussions that we are doing on this channel. I always tell people that this is not a news channel. This channel actually is an intercessory channel. It is a channel where we are talking about issues happening in the country. So we find the way, the direction of prayer, and also it is a mouthpiece of the Spirit of God over the nation of Zimbabwe on what is happening in the nation. So as for example, right now we are talking about this Kwekwe man who jumped from a very tall building to his demise. I know somebody would say, we have seen this, we saw this, this is stale news. It's not about the news, it's about the discussion that we have over that. What the Spirit of God says about what happens in our country, and also the discussion as citizen to citizen that we have over events that are happening in the nation. What we will discuss here is what is more important than the incident of the man who is jumped from a tall building, or maybe the fact that you have seen it on WhatsApp or you've seen it on social media. But what we will discuss here is what is more important than the event itself. So I can see a lot of people already coming in to join. Right, we are discussing this issue of the man who jumped from a very tall building in the city of Kwekwe to his demise. And it is a very sad development that we are seeing happening in the country. But our issue here is not about what has happened. It is about why things like this happen in any nation, but especially considering what is happening exactly in our nation, Zimbabwe. We want to look at the causes of such problems when we see them happening in the country. And I'm sure most of you have seen this. I'm not going to play the video itself. I'm not going to play it because of reasons that I know we don't want to. I don't want to have problems with the YouTube, but I'm not just going to show you a picture of that because we don't want to have YouTube complaining about our video, because such incidents, I'm not even going to mention the word that they would start to complain about. I'm not going to talk about it. So when you hear me using a Shona language on Ndebele language on the words, on some words as we are discussing here, understand why I'm doing that, because YouTube is going to pick those words and they can start to say this video is not fit for everyone and things like that, especially my issues ekuzviuraya, my issues okuzibulala nekutora zvinodhaka okudhakayo. Those I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about. So I'm not going to play the video. I'm sure most of the people have seen this video. But our issue is, why are things like this happening in the country? You would find that we have many reasons why we have such experiences in the country. But I first of all want to talk about the issue of governance. It's of hardships. There's too much hardship in the country. And because of too much hardship, and many people really are between a rock and a hard place. Things are not well in the country. Fathers are failing to fend for their families. Marriages are breaking down in Zimbabwe. And children who are, we have lost parents, orphans, are failing to really survive in the country because of the hardship. There's no employment. The economy is bad. The dollar has lost value. The government does not care for its people, and nothing is happening in terms of assisting those people that are in difficult situations and difficult circumstances. So because of that, you find that people start to develop issues that concern mental problems. The mental issues begin to be so prevalent in a situation like the situation that we have in Zimbabwe. So all this is because of the governance system that we have in Zimbabwe. It is not caring, the country is not caring for its people. And you'd find that people, young people, including old people, they will start to engage in izinto ezidakayo mune zvinodhaka because of that hardship that the country is facing. So this man had to climb on top of that very tall building, just imagine, and he had to just throw himself down, and he just met his fate there. It's unfortunate, but the issue that I really want to focus on is the idea of social services. Our country totally has no social services at all. What am I talking about? In countries that are really functional, because I was looking at things that were happening on that video, very, very painful. The first thing that I noted was that there were some people that were laughing, right? I'm sure those that listen to that video, unfortunately, I cannot play it. There were people that were laughing on that video. And I was asking myself, really, when this is a matter of life and death concerning another individual, there are people that are, you know, Zimbabweans that are watching this happening, and they are busy making it a joke, laughing about this. It's very sad in our country. The level of selfishness has risen to alarming levels, really, in our country. And you know, instead of having empathy for one another, sympathy for one another, we still have some people who can laugh at such a scenario. Because, you know, if you are not in a situation yourself and you see another person in a situation, you might think it's easy. You might think it's a joke when somebody's in a situation, until you find yourself in the shoes of that other individual. So for those people that were laughing and mocking him, there were other people who were even shouting to say, "Huya," like you know, encouraging him to jump. Like really, what is wrong with our country? What's wrong with our people? You know, it's not everything that we should just take in a jocular manner. This could be somebody's father. This is somebody's brother. This is somebody's child. And you know, it's sad for us as a nation to be so heartless, to the point that we don't want to come through for one another when the other person is fallen into temptation or into trial. We are not there for each other as Zimbabweans. I've been saying it on this show many times, that you find maybe a single or two police officers, you know, beating the whole town, you know, or abusing an individual in town, and everyone else is just passing by. Nobody's interfering. Nobody is coming to find out, okay, what is happening here? If this person has committed a crime, why not arrest this person and take them to the police station? Nobody cares about it, as long as it is not my problem. And I think this is why ZANU PF is triumphing in our country, because we are so selfish to the point that we say, as long as my children and my family, myself and my family, we are fine. We don't care about what happens to the next person. This is why our country is very dirty. Look at the dirt that is in Zimbabwe. Everyone who eats anything, they just throw any papers, they just throw their refuse anywhere without caring about the next person. You see, if we were all responsible to the point of knowing that the next person who walks on this path must find this path clean, so let me take my rubbish and throw it in the dustbin. Nobody cares about it. There is literally no care anymore in our country. Care has dwindled to levels that are very, very amazing. That's why we are having some people that are busy encouraging that man to jump, or some that are mocking, or those that are laughing at him as he is attempting to to jump from that building. Right. So this is one area that we want to look at. The other area that we want to look at is the one that I have said, of our social services. I'm telling you, in a normal country, before that man jumped, I'm telling you, we were supposed to have seen police. We were supposed to have seen fire brigade already arrived at that place, already trying to negotiate with that man, somebody trying to reach out. We have negotiators, both from police and even the fire brigade, who negotiate with people that find themselves in that situation there. And there was nothing. There was no police that arrived there. There was no fire brigade that arrived there. We were supposed to have cars, fire brigade cars, those cars with those ladder-like structures, to have somebody trying to reach out to that man and talk to him, and trying to persuade him not to jump, or even if he were to jump, but at least there were supposed to be some people who were putting some effort to try and avoid that. We're supposed to have some police officers probably who were supposed to be climbing on that building from the other side or something like that, trying to preserve life. But nothing like that happens in Zimbabwe. So it shows that it's a country that is failing to care for its own citizens. That man was supposed to be, helped before he jumped, and he was supposed to be taken to some rehabilitation, and all such facilities are no longer there in Zimbabwe. He was supposed to be taken to some facilities where he could be, attended to and helped if he needs to see a psychologist, or he needs to see a social worker or somebody, or maybe a pastor or a man of God to pray for him, deliver him, or something like that. But all that in Zimbabwe is no longer there. I'm telling you, you can die in Zimbabwe while people are just watching. And I'm telling you, that is now a spirit that is grasped, that is engulfed our nation, which is because of the uncaring leadership that we have. Everything starts from the leadership. It starts from the top. That uncaring attitude that ZANU-PF continues to portray over the nation of Zimbabwe, it has permeated into the nation, into the citizens, and now everyone is now just behaving like the leadership that we have in the country. This is a very sad development. It's a very sad scenario, and we really need a caring Zimbabwe. We need change in our country. We need to have leaders that start again to cultivate love in the country, to cultivate that oneness, to cultivate care for one another in the country, to start to promote social services that reach out to citizens, so that citizens are helped when they are facing different situations and different scenarios. All that has been killed by ZANU-PF. It's no longer in existence. This is why we are saying our country cannot continue to be in the state that it is. It is so sad. Somebody should have helped. Somebody should have reached out. Somebody should have come there and attempted to do something before that man finally did what he did, because it is not right. It's not right at all. So the hardships, the pain, the unemployment, the poverty, sickness, and suffering that we are seeing right in the nation of Zimbabwe are some of the reasons why our people continue to go through experiences like what we have seen this man going through. And also those people that were not there to support, to stand with him, to attempt, to do something. It is because of an uncaring nation, a nation with no resources, a nation that is not well financed to be able to reach out to its citizens. So we need change. This is why we continue to call for freedom. And we are saying Zimbabwe must be freed from the leaders that are cultivating a wrong spirit and a wrong culture in our people. We want a change to Zimbabwe. We want a Zimbabwe that is different. We want a Zimbabwe that loves its people and has its people loving one another. And we can only do that if we remove a rotten leadership. The leadership of Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF must just go. Our people have suffered enough. Zimbabweans have suffered enough. It is time that we should now start to see a new culture being cultivated into the country. But that can only happen when we remove ZANU-PF and we see a new great Zimbabwe rising. So family, this is the scenario that we wanted to talk about, and the causes of that, and what is really needed for our country. So this is the story that I had that I wanted us to discuss. Otherwise, thank you so much for those that have joined me on the show. And we still have 2 more shows that are coming on the main channel, Chatufa Television Production. So stay tuned. After a few minutes, we'll be live on the main channel, Chatufa Television Production. Tauraichi Nondo says, Chatufa family, good evening. It's good to be here. Thank you very much for being here. Norina says, good evening, Chatufa family. Thank you for joining us. Notando Mdluli says, good evening, Chatufa family. Unjani, my sister. Hi, siyabonga. Ngasikubona la. Hi, siyathaba. Enias Nhlov says, hi, Mr. Chatufa, is it true that there are elections in June? Okay, those are just rumors, but we need to have a proper communication that comes from SADC. SADC has not really produced any proper and official communication that is talking in terms of that. So those can be just the rumors that are circulating. So that's why you see I'm not talking about that. I don't just talk about things that are hearsay that is running in the streets. We need to be very sure of what we are talking about. But I doubt it very, very much, because June is too close. June is very, very close for us to say, to talk about elections. Elections really take a long time to prepare. Remember, it's not just about printing ballot papers and then putting polling stations and polling officers only. A lot needs to be done, like leveling the ground. The ground needs to be leveled in Zimbabwe. So it has also to go as far as touching the laws of Zimbabwe. There are laws that need to be amended, that are giving too much power to ZANU-PF, too much power to ZEC, too much power to the police, and things like that. The environment, it entails a lot of things. So ZAD cannot just walk in one day and say we are holding elections. No, it takes much. I'm sure it might need even to take more than close to a year to prepare, or 6 months to a year to prepare for a fresh election that can be credible. So I don't think within just a month or two left, that can still be possible. No ways. I don't see it happening. Regina Piri says this culture started way back with this cult. Exactly. So this is what we were talking about on the show. Thank you very much for joining me. Let's be standing by for the next show that we are having on Chatufa Television Production. Just a few minutes. Stay put. Thank you very much. God bless you, and God bless